Right, okay everybody, welcome back to the channel. So we're out on the golf course and I've got a little what's in the back, or an updated version. Not done this video for quite a while, so a couple of new exciting additions for me anyway. I've got into the bag, so we're going to take you through it, see what I've got on my bag, what I'm playing and the reasons why. Okay, so like we say, we're going to take a little look at what's in the bag. So we're going to start off with the wedges first and work our way through the bag. So nothing really changed on the wedge side of things for me. I played these for probably a good, well, since they actually launched. So Titleist Vokey SM8's got the chrome finish, and I carry a 50, a 54 and a 58 degree. So always tend to sort of work on those lofts, those sort of gap ins, tend to sort of sit in well with my pitching wedge in the set. Always feel sort of comfortable with having a 58 degree as my highest loft. Always feel quite comfortable opening that up if I ever need that a little bit more loft. So they tend to sort of work quite well. And in terms of the grinds and the bounces on these, so I've got a 50 degree, 12 bounce, which is pretty standard in a full grind, F grind. Same with a 54, it's a 14 bounce because that's a sand iron, again full grind. And then I go 58, 10 in an S grind on the 58, just a little bit more of that trail relief on the sole there, just for when I get maybe those tight lies when I'm sort of trying to get it up and over, maybe bunkering and around the green. So I always feel sort of happy with the Vokeys, you know, tend to get really sort of good control, good looking wedge sat down by the golf ball, so that's always important to me, how they look down by the ball. And then sort of moving on into the irons, and again, no change here. And many of you will know I've had these in the bag, again, probably since these launched, and I just fell in love with them as soon as I sort of struck them and tested them in my review video. And the Wilson staff model bladed irons, and they're just, you know, they're just a beautiful looking iron, very classic look, you know, just beautiful down by the golf ball. And probably what I would say there, they're not a sort of real hard club to hit for a blade, that's something that sort of surprised me when I tested these. They weren't stupidly hard to hit in a way. Yes, they're small, yes, they're compact, yes, if you miss the middle you do know about it, but the feel off them are just fantastic. I just love the way they sit behind the ball, and I'll tell you what, it'll take a special set of golf clubs to knock these out of my bag, so they are still in there. Spec wise of these, KBS Tour 105 in an X, so quite light shaft for myself, but I do prefer that sort of feel, that balance of the club. I like to feel that little bit of that weight in the head a little bit more. Mid-size tall velvet grips. These are ½ inch longer, and they are 1 degree upright on the lie angles there, which typically is more suited for myself. So I carry those in I have them in a 3-iron all the way through to pitching wedge, which sometimes I flick the 3-iron out, because just moving on from that, I do have then in my sort of 2-iron in a way, I've got a Tour Edge Exotics EXS, and again, this has been in the bag for probably a good sort of 8 months now. Unfortunately, with lockdown and everything, I've only really used this on the golf course a handful of times, but I've really enjoyed it. And again, we've got some good numbers when I tested it. So this is a number 3 19 degree, but I have strengthened that loft to 17 degrees. So I've strengthened it too. So it's more like a 2-iron sort of replacement. Hollow head construction. There's a bit of offset on there, which I'm not really a big fan of, and that's probably the only downside to this. I'm not quite keen on the look of it, but it does go really well, so that is sort of just outweighing that, maybe that little bit of the looks there. Got this in a Tensai AV graphite 75, again in an X Flex and a mid-size grip. So then moving on into a 3-wood, and this is a new one in the bag. You probably see with the head cover now, it's a Cobra Rad Speed, so it's the new one. And some of you may be surprised here that this is just the standard Rad Speed head. It's not the Tour head or anything like that, it's just literally the standard Rad Speed head. So I've got the weight in that back section, and again, when I tested this, it just felt really good and just felt very easy to sort of hit. So I've got this set up into a Motori X F1.7, which is an X Flex, so obviously a bit more of my flex there. Again, mid-size tall velvet grip. Just got that single weight in that back section there. I have just lofted this down to 13.5 just to get the club face to sit a little bit squarer. When it was in a standard position, it just sat a little bit toed in for my liking, so I have actually just sort of squared that up a little bit, so 13.5. So a 3-wood isn't a club I'd use a lot. I've always sort of had one in the bag. I grew up my golf playing more 1-iron, 2-iron when I was a kid. Never had a fairway wood. I've never been really comfortable with fairway wood. Having said that, again, this is why I wanted something that was quite sort of easy to use. It's not something that feels really confident to me, especially to draw it out actually on that golf course. But 30.5, maybe use it again off the tee, maybe more of a positional sort of club where maybe drive is just a bit too long for certain, you know, if there's bunkers on the fairway or ditches coming across, then I can sort of use that as a bit more of a sort of layup club off the tee. So there's a new putter that's gone into my bag. Just recently done a review video of this, and I really enjoyed it. It's very similar shape. Well, it's the same model as my previous one, Ping Sigma 2, but this now is the Ping Tine 4. So again, same shape, but it's the new 2021 model. It's just been released. Soon as I got this out of the wrapper, it's the shape I like, with the sort of two fangs on the back, and I sat it down. I'm one of those where if I get a putter and I sit it down, some putters to me look shut. They just don't look right. As soon as I put it on that floor in that address position, they just don't sit right, and I can't use it. It just goes. I just don't want to entertain that putter at all. This, as I put it down, just sat beautiful. A little bit compact on the head, which I quite like, but then the feel off the club face was unbelievable. It's really sort of soft with the insert they've got in the putter there. So really enjoyed the sort of feel that this provided. It's a fixed length shaft, so it's not the adjustable. You can get the adjustable version of this. I think it's a little bit more money in terms of the option. I didn't really want the adjustability, so this is just a fixed 35 inches in length, and I've got the sort of bit more of a mid-size sort of grip there, which again I typically like, which sort of tends to sort of fill my hands a little bit more with the putter. Just gives me that bit of confidence that I don't get too active with those hands on that putting stroke. So yeah, really enjoying using that at the moment. Again, not really took that out on the golf courses yet. I've just done a lot in the studio and out just on the practice putting green, but excited to get that back out on the golf course when we get playing. Okay, and then now to the big dog, as we say, that, you know, the driver, and this is a new one in the bag. So what you'll have seen through lockdown here, I've done a lot of product testing with all the new drivers that have been launched out on the market. A lot of head-to-head comparison videos in there, and you'll know that my G400 LST has been performing really well, and I do like it. I feel really comfortable with it. So I'm thinking, well, you're probably thinking, well, why do I need to change? You know, as you appreciate, G400's, you know, a couple of generations old now. I do like to have new toys in the bag. I do like to have new shiny things. So there's that element that sort of keeps telling me I need to sort of put something new in the bag, yet the 400 always perform really well. But I did do a video of G400 LST up against Titleist TS3, and the results were favouring the Titleist. So I've done a little bit more testing away from the camera, and I just really fallen in love with this, to be honest. So Titleist TSI 3, just love the shape of it, you know, down by that golf ball, just ticking all the boxes for me. The shape, the look, very clean. It's very different to my G400. Not saying I didn't like the look of the G400, but I just much prefer this classic sort of look, black top. The sound of it is unbelievable. Really big fan of the sound, and the numbers were great. And I've gone with the Hazardous Smoke RDX, which typically gets me some of my best sort of numbers. It feels really good, really solid to me. Cut at 45.25 inches, so it's a quarter of an inch shorter than standard. Just like that little bit more control there. Just prefer that sort of length. 6.5, I should expect X Flex, and I just have that set 9-degree head just set at A1. Haven't changed that. The adjustability of the weight in the back, I haven't changed. I just keep that in a very neutral position, just to get for quite a neutral flight with that. Obviously, I've got the bit of luxury of then changing that around. If anything, you know, certain tendencies creep in my game, I've got adjustability there that can maybe help me out. But yeah, really pleased with that at the moment. Again, going to get this out on the golf course. Can't wait to get it out there. But real big fan of that. Performs well, looks good, and it's a nice new shiny toy. And then you'll be pleased to see I've actually got rid of my Strixon bag. Had that, oh God, I must have had that 7 years, and it was a colour completely white, so it was looking pretty tatty. So just bag's a bag, isn't it? I've just got a nice Titleist waterproof bag there, carry bag, which is quite nice. Groove It brush on the side of the bag. Again, you'll see in my review video that great little feature, just sort of squirt the water out onto the clubs. Really ideal for keeping your grooves clean when you're on that golf course. So great little magnet thing there, so it's dead easy just to clip on the side of the bag while you're playing. So that I always like to have that on the bag when I'm sort of playing. So ball wise, playing TP5X from TaylorMade. No reason to sort of change from them. I really like the sort of performance, the feel off these in and around the greens, good. Spin numbers tend to be sort of good enough for me anyway, sort of, you know, the X just keep that little bit slightly lower spin, just keeps a little bit of control for me. Right, okay, so there we go. New what's in the bag with some new additions in there. So post comments down below, let me know your thoughts of what I've got in my bag there. Is that sort of something that you might sort of look at? Have you got some new additions in the bag for this 2021 season? Love to hear what you've put in there and the reasons why you've done it. Is that been through a fitting session, or has it just been trying your friends' clubs, or is it just something that you've a bit of an impulse buying away? Love to hear how you're sort of purchasing and making those sort of decisions. So do comment in the section down below. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, do share it around, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.